So, let me see. I hate to start off any story with it was a dark and stormy night, but it really was. January, a few years ago, married, at a party with a bunch of friends, and me and my wife, and we're all sitting around talking about what's going on in the world. And I was an athlete growing up all my life, and and I gained a little bit of weight, and as happens when you have kids. And so my wife, on the other hand, she was an athlete, just like me growing up. And she was an athlete growing up, and she had started going to CrossFit, and she was doing the burpees, and she was looking good. And her and her friend Melissa, they were always there. So after a few drinks, they started talking about all the stuff that goes on, and I was telling them, "You guys look great." And they started saying, and my wife, she's beautiful, and while she's there, she's as the drinks start flowing, she says, her friend says, "Yeah, well, there's a guy there that one of the trainers. She looks really good." And I was, I'm not a jealous guy, so I just kind of let it go. And her friend, they keep going on, right? And as the drinks start flowing, more and more crappy comments. They were emasculating. They were just they called him the frog because he could jump really high and he was really muscular and he hopped from girl to girl. So they were like, "Yeah, the frog, he really likes your girl." So I have a few drinks too. And I say, and as they're talking about CrossFit, I'm on my phone and I Google CrossFit competitions, and there's this thing called the Spartan race. So I have a few drinks, and after a few drinks, I say, "You know what? Fuck your CrossFit. Fuck your instructor. I'm going to enter your Spartan race, and I'm going to do good. What's the hardest one? The beef, the 15-mile one? I got that. Signed up right then and there, $150. So I signed up for this race, and I think to myself, I was an athlete growing up. It's not going to be a big deal. So a couple weeks later, I enter, one of those fun runs. It was a bubble run in Irvine. I do it, and about midway through, I feel like death. It's the worst thing ever. And I think to myself, and all the comments come back. "See, you couldn't do it. You can't do it." So then I get home and I think about it and I say, man, I have to impress her. I have to show her that I can do this. So I start training day and night. I eat well, and not just that. Not only do I change my whole lifestyle, but I tell myself I'm going to train in the harshest conditions. I ran in 115-degree heat with a 50-pound vest, and I was going up and down hills. I was a machine. Okay, I ate so much chicken and broccoli that I laid an egg. It was the worst. I was so over it. So then the day comes. I'm ready to go, and it's in Temecula, September. It's 115 degrees, and everyone is freaking out. They're like, "It's 115 degrees. It's a city built on the sun." And everybody was like, they were scared, but I wasn't scared. I was ready. I knew I was ready because I trained in the worst conditions. So there was 1,000 people in the race, and of 1,000 people, 500 didn't finish. They didn't even make it to the end. Somebody got bit by a rattlesnake. Somebody broke a leg. So I'm running through this course, and I flipped 400-pound tires. I carried a 60-pound sandbag up a hill. And, and the thing that motivated me throughout this whole thing was the anger and the hurt that I felt. So then as I'm hitting mile 14, I go over the last obstacle. And as I'm going down, as I pass this last obstacle, I turn the last corner. Who do I see? The frog. He is on the ground and he has a cramp. I run past, low-five him because he's on the ground. And I make it, right? So I get through, I go home, I get through and I feel great. I go home and I kill a 12-pack of beer because I burned 7,000 calories. And no joke, I had it on my Fitbit, 7,000 calories. And so I go through these and, and so I say to myself, well, I've already done one race, I'm gonna do the next one. And, you know, because she's still, like, she thinks it's cool, but she's not really impressed. And, no, really, because she was a racer, and she had been doing marathons, and, you know, to her, it wasn't a big deal. So, January comes around, and they have the Super, which is only 8 miles. And so I train for the Super, and the morning of the Super, I tell her, hey, I'm gonna do this race. And she's like, oh, okay, cool, I didn't think you were gonna do it. I didn't think you were gonna do it. But you know, I can't make it, I have plans, but too good. So I get to the same part, the 60-pound sandbag, which killed me in the first race. And I'll never forget, there was a guy next to me, and we're both going up the hill, and we make it to the top of the hill, and we can see the lake. And he turns to me, because we're both exhausted, and he turns and he goes, isn't that the most beautiful thing you've ever seen? And I turn to him and I go, I don't want to be married anymore. And we get a divorce. The end.
Let's hear it for Jesse. A great start to the night. That's what they call a runner's high, I believe. That was a good twist ending. Let's hear it. Our next storyteller, make your way to stage, Paul Davis. Let's hear it for Paul.